What's up, SikSensei here, and right now I want to talk about Gunfight, the 2v2 mode in Call of Duty Modern Warfare that I think is pretty damn incredible. Now, your experience with Gunfight or the 2v2 mode may differ from mine, and that's to be expected, right? You have to spend some time with anything to really get to understand it. But I want to help you understand why I love it so much and why I think it is perhaps the greatest game mode to ever enter Call of Duty. First and foremost, I want to talk about the balance, or the fact that in Gunfight, it is unquestionably balanced, right? There's no perks, there's no minimap, everyone has the exact same loadout, which most importantly, no matter what you have, right? It's the M4, the 725, it can be anything. Everyone has the same thing. So weapon imbalance in the regular multiplayer doesn't even come into play in Gunfight. Now, on top of everyone having the exact same loadout, the maps are also mirrored, with the little exception of Hill, which we'll get into that later. But everyone has the same lines of sight, the same opening routes, the same cover, the same opportunities across the board to succeed or not in Call of Duty Gunfight. And what's super cool about these maps is even though they're the same, and there's quite a few of them now, they all play a little different, like in some cases wildly different. For example, docks, you have tons of cover and slight verticality, whereas speedball, you're almost always exposed and you're on a level playing field. So I love that the maps are mirrored, the weapons are balanced, and the maps play a little differently. Another cool aspect that keeps things balanced, in my opinion, is the fact that there's no healing. So many guns, you will just get the kill, right? M4, LMGs, if you see them, they're probably going to die. But especially in the pistol rounds, I think this comes into play more than anything. If you win an engagement with the pistol, but nobody dies, you still won that engagement in the end because you dealt more damage than they did to you. And that may come into play later on in the rounds because the rules are incredibly well thought out. And it feels like a good evolution of competitive Call of Duty. Speaking of those rules, right, there's a 40-second round, which makes things nice and fast, right? Fast and light. The maps are close quarters, right? We talked about the maps being mirrored. They're nice and small. They're very close quarters. You have instant peaks, right? You can almost, in every map, you can peek your enemy right away, or you can super sprint away to a different line of cover. But the rounds are 40-second rounds. Let's go back to the rules here. 40-second rounds. The objective at the end of that will spawn up in the middle of the map, almost always directly in the middle. Sometimes it's just a little off, but it's always right near the middle. And on top of that objective, if no one caps that objective, you can win based on health. And we'll get into the strategy of that in a later video. But let's say, for example, you and another guy, you're down to a 1v1 situation, and you both have 100 health, right? Here's a strategy I can give you right now off the cuff. If you throw a stun grenade and deal 1 damage, and the objective disappears after the 40-second round, you win based on health. That's a strategy, and it's incredible. Things like that are stuff a lot of people don't think about in Call of Duty Gunfight, and it's one of the main reasons I think this game mode is phenomenal. Now, speaking back to those loadouts, that everyone has the same loadout in the match, what's really cool is that they rotate every 2 rounds. So every 2 rounds, you get new loadouts. And what I like about 2 rounds, and not 3 and not 1, I think 2 is kind of perfect, because if you were to misread the loadout, right, you misread and you lose a round, it gives you an opportunity, a chance to fix whatever you may have done wrong, right? Maybe you misread your enemy. You misread the recoil pattern on this specific light machine gun. Or you didn't think that your enemy was going to peek that line of sight with the sniper rifle, right? You can fix it. And on the flip side of that, if you do a really phenomenal job opening snipe against your enemies, they have an opportunity to change up what they did to fix it. So I think 3 rounds would be too much, and 1 round would be the change would be too often. So rotating the loadouts every 2 rounds, I think, is a perfect number, and another one of the reasons that this feels like a great evolution. But that's all the stuff that's right there on the surface, right? That's all the stuff that's anyone can watch some gameplay, play a couple rounds, and kind of deduce all this stuff. I think this is incredible game mode because of the team composition, the communication, and the strategy. I think that stuff is paramount to your success in Call of Duty Gunfight. And it, you know, when you come up against that team who's super sweaty, they're clearly gamers, your opportunity, your ability to be unpredictable is put to the test. Your communication is put to the test. And you know, the strategy is just it really pulls out what I think is the best in players. And if you get beat, which happens, you really don't have anything to bitch about. You just simply got beat. And I love that about it, because there's just nothing you can do. You got beat, you got outplayed, you got outclassed, you misread a situation, and that's okay. All you have to do is learn from it. There's no perk you can bitch about. There's no 725 that you get to bitch about, because you had it too. And you didn't even have a choice. You had that gun. And one tidbit I want to throw out there that I have a whole lot of fun with in Gunfight is you can play this with your friends with actually more than 2 people per team. And I'll tell you this, we played it with 6, we played it with 8 people, 4 people on each side, obviously. It is a absolute blast. It gets nuts, it gets silly, it almost never goes to the objective portion, just because we're friends and we're just going at it. But I just want to let y'all know that you can throw your friends in there with more than 2 people and you can have an incredible time. Now, so far, this has been a video of me basically gushing about how I really do love Gunfight, and hopefully convincing at least some of you that Gunfight is a viable game mode to play, and it's incredibly fun and a little bit sweaty, and that's good. That's a good place to be sometimes. And I want to introduce y'all to a video series I would like to do on Gunfight. It'd be a video per map. It'll be peaks, callouts, sprint routes, unpredictable places to be and unpredictable routes to take, lines of sight and first opening sprint lines of sight, jump spots, and some map specific strategies. Some places to throw your stuns, some Molotov cocktail, cross map throws and stuff like that. It's incredible. We've got some great stuff coming down the pipeline, and I hope you're excited. I love Gunfight, and I want to continue making content for it. Thank you. I'm SikSensei, and I'm out. Peace.